Welcome to the Pride of Detroit PODcast, prideofdetroit.com, Pride of Detroit on Twitter, Pride of Detroit on Facebook. Hey, you know where to find us in love, in life, in defeat, and most of all, in victory. And we are here to talk about a Detroit Lions victory, baby. Lions back in the win column after just taking a short siesta last week. That's all fine. It's all fine. We're here to break it all down for you. Lions on the road, a home game on the road in the desert in Phoenix because apparently we're running back the Red Wings of the 90s with how Lions fans travel. 20-17, your final
13.
score. Excuse me?
13.
20 to, what did I say?
17.
I was spotting them a few extra points. It's fine. 20-13, your finals. 20-13, just to be sporting, 20-13, your final score from Phoenix in a very defense standout game. And lots to talk about in this game. So let's get everyone in there. I am Chris Perfett, the adequate host, as evidenced by screwing up the score already, at Chris Perfett on Twitter, where I will sometimes talk about the Detroit Lions, but don't demand I talk about the Detroit Lions. Jeremy Reisman, the fearless leader at Detroit on Lions, who talks about Lions way more than me. Hi, Jeremy. He's the voice already correcting me.
Yes. I'm just trying to give the defense its proper credit because it was maybe one of the best defensive performances we've seen in this from this team really since, the I would say the Caldwell days, honestly. It was that impressive to me.
That is a very impressive thing. And we'll talk about Aaron Glenn and his accolades deserved. But first, accolades, of course, to the man who is always working hard, Ryan Matthews. At Ryan _POD. How are we doing, Ryan?
Doing well, Chris. How are you?
We're not going to talk about Malik Willis on this podcast, just letting you know.
Darn.
Catch you later.
Or in the breaks if you're watching live,
Yeah. Okay. We got a lot to talk about, so let's just dive right into the takeaways. I've usually gone first. I will open this up if you want to go first out of the gate here.
Let's just get into the defense because it's the most fun to talk about in this game. It was, I think we had been looking in those first two games and been like, was that for real, or were the Rams really beat up? Is that for real, or the Bucks, they had their opportunities. They come out against a red hot Cardinals offense. It was second in offensive scoring through 2 weeks. And granted, they went through a couple maybe easier teams, not necessarily with Buffalo, but anyways, really hot Cardinals team. I think we're looking at him. We're like, uh-oh, Kyler Murray's going to run on us. Uh-oh, Marvin Harrison Jr. looks amazing. Uh-oh, can this team step up? And they absolutely did. Uh-oh, they go down and score on their very first drive. And then the rest of the way, it's just punts, fourth down stops. This team, I believe, was 1 for 9 on third downs, 0 for 2 on fourth downs. Could not run the ball. He tried the deep shot, and it didn't work for almost the entire game. They put up that graphic that Kyler Murray was, 3 for 3 last week on deep shots, and deep into the fourth quarter, he was 0 for 5 this week with an interception. I think he eventually completed one. It was a perfect marriage of everything, right? Like the run defense that we know has been solid all for the past year, finally getting them into third and downs. And unlike last year, remember the terrors that were third and longs on defense? Lions shut them down today. They weren't allowing anything to, and again, I felt like it was a perfect marriage of everything. There was a little bit of pressure coming in. It's forcing Kyler Murray to throw off his back foot inaccurate passes, and credit also to the secondary who got their hands on a few balls. Yes, it wasn't perfect. Terrion got tagged for another penalty, so did Carlton, but they came up in it late in games when the offense just would not put the game away, and it was just defense was back out there, defense was back out there, defense was back out there. And they did everything that they could be realistically expected to do. And so the injuries we'll get to, and they're concerning on some level, but at the same time, a lot of those guys missed almost the entirety of the game, and the Lions balled out defensively. I could not be more excited for that because that's what we've all been looking for early in the season. You're muted.
Thank you. One quick stat point from that regard. James Conner, only 17 yards in this game. As you say, run game completely shut down. Kyler Murray looked like he was just fishing balls out there, hoping for a pass interference flag at times. I'm not saying like that all DPI offense is really a thing, but there was definitely a sense. This wasn't a sense from watching the Arizona Cardinals last week where it's just like heave the ball up there and hope someone is there. The Lions defense looks like they rattled Kyler Murray. Like both quarterbacks were fairly perfect through the first half, but then you could see the Lions defense slowly wearing away at them. And like, look, I have to give Aaron Glenn credit for this one. I've got to give Aaron Glenn credit for a lot of this through the first couple of weeks. And yeah, there's some penalties that are really starting to weigh down the Lions defense. This could probably have been an even better defensive performance had they not been drawing some of the flags that they were drawing. I believe the penalty yardage was like what, about 80 yards again. Yeah, penalties nine for 79 all total. That's offense too. But once again, getting some DPI flags thrown in there. I think my big takeaway, though, I'm going to focus on the offense a little bit. I still think it's a work in progress, but this one looked better. It's tough to say, right? Because I feel like there's still a gear that the offense is missing right now. But my big problem from last week was Jared Goff's trying to be is being put in a spot where he's being asked too much of a hero. 55 pass attempts against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Wasn't a problem in this game. David Montgomery back in action, 100 yards rushing in this game. And I think some people would like to see Montgomery out there quite a bit. I just don't think it's the character of this. I think there were some actually issues when it came to the offensive line in this game, but I think this looked a little bit more like the offense we expected last year, just not up to its full power and potential just yet. Amon-Ra St. Brown, but not overly being cribbed on. Sam Laporta involved until his injury. Brock Wright being a tremendous mover of the ball in good situations. The only thing that really was missing versus what we had the last couple of weeks was deep shots to Jamison Williams, and Lord knows Jared Goff tried in a couple spots. I think I am more confident, in the progress of the offense, in spite of only having about 20 points in here, and once again blanking in the second half, which seems to really be a problem. But hey, Ryan, when you have someone like Vanilla Vic ready to ice the game for you, you got to feel confident.
How dare you? That's an affront to everything I stand for. But I'll table that just to add on to some of the talk about the Lions defense, because that was obviously the big takeaway. When you have the Lions hold, Cardinals team that just boat race for the Rams 41-10 to beat Sean McVay for the first time. I mean, the Lions just played that Rams defense. They're not bad. They pulled off a win today against the 49ers. I know the 49ers were missing some pieces too, but I mean, they held the 49ers to 24 points. Pieces. Yeah, so but the big thing obviously is like this game was run. It was won on the ground, and James Conner running 9 carries for 17 yards for 1.9 a carry. That's his lowest yards per carry in his career for a game in which he had at least 7 carries. That's crazy. That's some stat head stuff. I appreciate that. Shout out to them. If they want to throw a sticker on our Twitch page, for sure, they can do that too.
Or just a free subscription.
Yeah, anything like that. Something, a freebie. Because speaking of freebies, it seemed like, and I don't know why the Cardinals went away from it, but Kyler Murray had 34 of his 45 yards on that first drive where they scored a touchdown. One of them was a scramble, another one was a designed run. Other than that, I mean, I thought it was going to be a nightmare after the first drive,
right? And
it turned out to be a complete non-factor, because the Cardinals' offense turned into, let's just chuck it and see if we get, an incredible catch from Marvin Harrison Jr. or a DPI.
Right.
Like we'll hope for, come hell or high water, one of those two things is going to happen. And, I'm sure we'll talk about the offense. For a half, the offense looked pretty cool.
Great. I mean, almost perfect, right?
Yeah. And then it was a staring contest to see who wanted to win the football game in the second half. And the answer to that question was the Lions defense, and the Lions defense came up big. And to Jeremy's point, I don't know if we've seen a defensive performance quite like this in some time. And hats off to them, because it's going to be a long season. And my one other takeaway, David Montgomery is still the straw that stirs the drink.
man.
And if he's not if he's not stirring the drink, he's air walking 7 yards.
It's what he did in this game was unbelievable sometimes. Like, he gets hit at the line of scrimmage and then just drags everybody for 5 yards.
How about Jared Goff trying to nuke a play and throw the ball at the ground and Dave Montgomery says, "No, let me grab that
right.
and let me make this 2nd and 7 or whatever it was." Like,
Jared Goff's like, "Guess I'll let this play die," and Dave Montgomery's, "The F you are."
If that play wasn't his best play, I honestly think it was that 3rd and 2 run that he, again, like, maybe hit behind the line of scrimmage, and he somehow has like the low center of gravity to lean forward, keep his feet moving, and I thought he picked up the first down. Now, the officials marked him short.
Too, yeah.
I think it was a bad spot. Dan Campbell said it was his understanding that he was well short. I think that's bupkis. I think if I go back and watch that replay, he got the first down, and that could have changed the game. Like, he is so freaking good at just turning 3 yards. I mean, it's what, again, like the Jamal Williams thing. I think we always go back to that. I think it was a Ben Johnson quote where it's like, we need these 1 and 2 yard runs to get turned into 4 and 5 yard runs. That's what he's doing consistently every time. And I think it's necessary because I don't think the offensive line has hit its stride yet. I think the offensive line is going through some troubles here and there. Like, I can't complain much when you put up almost 200 rushing yards a game, but like, there's pre-snap penalties. I mean, the Cardinals got home on a 3-man rush.
I was going to say, like, some of the pass protection, that 3-man rush, that it was uncharacteristic from usually with Frank Ragnow and the guards. Like, Goff's going to be safe under center from that kind of paltry pressure, and they just got beat entirely.
And to be clear, like, this team should have been built to destroy teams with a two-score lead, right? Like, they ran the ball, 43 times in this game, and they were not good at it in the second half. Like, you expect this team to grind them down, do what they did against the Rams, which is like, okay, it's the end of the game. You guys are tired. We're going to pound you into the ground. And then, like, one of the last possessions was a run for 1 yard, a run for 0 yards, a run pass 3 and out, right? That was the disappointing part for me because I'm with you guys. I think the offense took a big stride. I mean, you look at the first half. Goff was 12 for 12 for 137 yards. Almost a perfect passer rating. You look at the running game, 21 rushes for 109 yards, 5.2 a carry in the first. I mean, that is just about as perfect of a first half that you can have. Outside of missing an extra point, but I won't talk about it. And so, I mean, that's what you were looking to do. It was just, the one wet blanketing I'll do is that, like, it's just disappointing that they couldn't close it out on offense until the very last opportunity.
Vanilla Vic.
Yeah. And I think the other thing, too, is you get the inverse of last week, right? It's not Jared Goff throwing the ball 55 times. It's not the running attack only, racking up 27 carries. It's 43 this week. The other thing, though, is that, like, this is really tough to have this thing be sustainable if you're trying to run the ball as much as they are. And that's something where I think as someone who's watching the game, you need to understand at the same time, yes, you want the Lions to run the ball. You want them to be physical. It's week 3 of a very long season, and we saw how many injuries happened tonight, right?
Yeah.
And I get it. It's a grind. It comes back to, I think, a lot of play calling and a lot of situational things and leaning so heavy on being kind of predictable in some spots where maybe you don't have to go run, pass, or you don't have to try to play with your foot off the gas, so to speak, right? And I felt like this was a far cry from even a game, I always go back to it, but last year against Green Bay on Thursday Night Football, right? There was a level of physicality to that game, but it was also, they knew they had him, right? This Cardinals defense, they were being pesky, man. In terms of run defense, they were being pretty tough in the second half. And I think you got to give hats off to them. But Dave Montgomery, man, he's awesome. My favorite statistical anomaly from the box score, though, Jahmyr Gibbs with 20 receiving yards and no catches.
0 catches.
And a touchdown.
Can we talk about that play really quick? Just celebrate it. Like, it was, I know they ran something similar, that I pointed out on Twitter, it felt very much like the hook and ladder that they ran against the Packers in the season finale against
2022.
in 2022. Yeah.
That creativity is a nice little kick in the gut. I like
right?
it.
I mean, if you need your offense to get a little kickstart, why not try something like that? Could they have run that more perfectly?
But that's why I feel like I'm still like I'm not. I think the offense is a problem, but I think it is something that I'm at least confident this team still will figure out.
Yeah,
because it definitely felt like they learned from their mistakes from last week, right? Like the second half was brutal, but at the same time, you're running the ball a lot more often. Play calling still a little to desired, but like I mean, if David Montgomery is your cheat code on the ground, you've got Amon-Ra St. Brown still able to just get you what you need for a first down when you absolutely need it.
yeah,
and they're working in Brock Wright more, and we'll have to see Sam Laporta's injury as well. Those are all positive signs for me.
yeah. I mean, listen, the passing game was working for the first time kind of all season consistently. I mean, you go perfect 12 for 12 in the first half. That's great. And even in the second half, well, yeah, it was bad. They punted 4 times. They threw an interception. They had a turnover on downs. That's all bad. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat that, but the one positive there is you only have 1 3 and out there. So you are moving the chains at least a little bit. You're bleeding a little bit of the clock. And you're just showing that level of consistency that it's just like, it's 1 block here. It's 1 3rd and 2 that you didn't convert. It's one, how many times today, I think it was at least twice. The Lions were in like a 3rd and 2, a false start turns it into a 3rd and 7. They were in a 2nd and 5, and it got turned into a 2nd and 11. Like, those are drive killing. I know they're only 5 yards, and the Lions are good enough to overcome 5 yards. But when you're ahead of the chains like that, it's really going to stop your momentum from like, okay, we just want to grind. We just want to grind them. Like, we just want to run the ball 3 times and get a first down like we normally can. But when you pick up 4 on first down and then you lose it all on a false start, well, now you're not going to be able to run it 2 times and pick up the first down. Those are huge penalties that a very uncharacteristically high number of those through 3 games. And again, like it's a sign to me that the offensive line is just not quite where our lofty standards of it are.
Yeah. I feel like they're still figuring things out. Can we talk about a couple other oddities that happened in this game as well? I guess the small ask is the play blown dead, stopping a pick 6 that could have really. So I think if you're getting, I bring this up mostly because like I feel like half the team, Ryan, did you feel like half the team was kind of giving up on that play anyways? Like I guess I'm saying like don't panic too much over what was the refs bailing out Detroit here on this, because it feels like there was kind of like half the team knew it was dead, but Goff still tried to throw anyway.
Nah,
I was confused by what happened. That's all.
I think there's general confusion everywhere, but like if you're a player on the field and you hear whistles, then you just stop playing, right? So I think there was some of that. It certainly didn't help that like Goff like continued with the play, right? Because then that adds to like all of Chris Myers and Mark Schlereth. God bless their souls. But it just led to a lot of talking on the broadcast for sure.
Yeah.
Can I have one little quibble with Dan Campbell?
Sure.
Is it about the 4th down and the burn timeout late in the game, or is it a different? Because I had a problem with that. Yeah, you do. Oh yeah, then by all means, yeah, let's talk about it, because I want to talk about it too.
It's 4th and 1, 6:54 left. They're at the 47-yard line. Jack Fox has an absolute leg. Why burn a timeout? Why not just take the 5-yard penalty for the delay of the game? Why take the timeout there? Why not just hold on to your timeouts? What if something happens? I'm just saying, like that seems like
to me.
It is a minor quibble, but I'm just saying
yeah.
that like okay, but like at that point though, it's 2010.
Yeah, you have
Cardinals
a 10-point lead
get the
with
ball back.
6 minutes left. Like how? I mean, maybe
They
you
had
need
This
that
game could go
timeout.
anyway. Yeah.
They had a 10-point lead with 30 minutes left, Jeremy. So
But I'm saying, like, with that little
Yeah.
time, how likely is it that you're going to actually need those timeouts?
I don't know, but just in case, like why not just let the delay game happen? I know, minor quibble, but I'm just saying that like, and even I mean, if we want to talk about other like minor little quibbles, I mean, before the end of the half, I thought that was uncharacteristic from the Lions in terms of
Yeah.
Jalen Reeves-Maben saying,
hit.
"Hey, Cardinals, you want some points? I'll help you."
bad.
And um, it was more bad on that drive too because it was Lee McNeil getting hurt and all this.
I was
stuff.
going
I'm
to say
not
Sam
seeing that
Laporta was getting carted off. Like
Right.
that actual drive is very much a blur because I'm like, what the hell?
Oh my
Lee
God,
McNeil's
yeah,
down. What the hell? Sam
panic,
Laporta
panic.
has got an ankle
I-
injury. Like what's happening?
As soon as I
Our
saw
heads
Sam
are falling off.
Yeah, Sam Laporta being carted off. I'm like, hold on. Like I saw it happen on the hook and ladder play, but I also was like, they didn't highlight it, they didn't talk about it or anything, and then
How many
he's
times
being carted off.
This is me complaining about broadcast, but like how many times did Fox like not even tell us who was injured for like 30 seconds?
Yeah,
like,
they didn't
the play
seem to
just
know
wasn't
that.
going on and they're just off on their own little tangent, and like meanwhile I'm reading, like I'm doom scrolling on Twitter like, oh my god, all these guys are injured, they're not even talking about it.
Yeah.
I had a problem a little bit. You brought up that the late hit penalty, Brian. I didn't think it was that late. I kind of had a problem with officiating a little bit.
It was
There
it was,
was,
was-
okay,
it was
there was
like-
two
it was
different
un-
late
no,
No,
hits.
I'm thinking of the other one then.
You're
I'm
thinking of the
other
quarterback
one.
hit, correct?
Yes.
The quarterback
yes.
hit was not late in my. What they call that?
Yeah.
Josh Pascal, I think.
Pascal. Yes, I was the Pascal
They
hit.
did,
That's
yeah.
I don't think like there was nothing I thought Pascal could really. I know this is the modern NFL. Maybe I should expect it, but at the same time, I did not think that was late. But combine that with some of the spotting in this game, including one that was challenged by Dan Campbell. I didn't think officiating was tremendous in this game.
The Cardinals are certainly going to complain about it because I mean, if we're all being honest, and to be clear, the clock on the broadcast is not the official clock.
Yeah.
I don't know if it had turned over to 2 or if it had, it was just barely
that was-
2.
That's part of the officiating as well.
Sure.
Is like clarity on the clock as well. That's yeah, and I'm not saying like I'm not only whining for the Lions side. I just think it was a reality of the two realities of the game that it impacted both teams. I don't think the officiating was great, and I definitely don't think the field was great out there.
Yeah.
Like, and this is a field that had been highlighted during preseason on how bad it was. And like, look, Budda Baker got really hurt in this game too. Like that certainly changed the calculus for the Cardinals as much as the bevy of injuries had changed the calculus for the Detroit Lions in this game.
He came back though.
He did come back. Okay.
Yeah, he made a couple of really big plays for them too. Down the
Yeah,
stretch.
I thought I
But-
saw him back. I
I
just
think he
wanted
had
to
a
make,
third
but
short tackle.
still,
Yeah,
like this is
for sure. But
bad field.
Chris Myers said, why is everybody getting injured? We're inside.
I mean, that's
That was his joke about it being in the desert, right? It's like, oh, it's not heat exhaustion. They're inside. Yuck, 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 yuck. Broadcast was terrible. It was awful.
Yeah. Let's
I have
talk about
no qualm saying that. Like, be better.
Yeah. Let's talk about the injuries then. Is maybe, Jeremy, the early bye week and a Monday game and an extra day of rest working in the Lions' favor right now? We
Sure.
obviously don't know too much about it right now. In Dan Campbell's own words, he can't say if a lot of these are long term, but they're definitely not season ending. I believe he had a report that Sam Laporta is probably dealing with the low ankle sprain, which is at least better than a high a lot of guys probably taking a day off, at least one day off from practice coming up.
Yeah, I mean, do you want me to run down them real quick? All of the injuries.
Yeah.
So
Give me the butcher's bill.
Yeah, Aleem McNeil and Derek Barnes appear to be the more significant of the injuries they both suffered. Or Aleem was a shoulder, Derek was a knee injury. Dan Campbell basically said of both, like, I can't say right now that they're not long-term injuries, but I don't think they're season-ending injuries. So to me, I read that as they're going to miss some time. They're not going to miss the season. Now, obviously it's early. You know, they'll run some MRIs when they get home to Detroit tonight or tomorrow, and we'll hopefully know more when we talk to Dan tomorrow. You mentioned the high ankle sprain for
Low ankle sprain.
Sorry, low ankle sprain. Thank you.
Yeah.
For Sam Laporta, we'll see. You know, he tried to come back and play, but eventually didn't return. Dan Skipper left early in the game, came back. Terrion Arnold left early, came back. I feel like there was one more. Well, Brian Branch.
Sam Laporta got the card. Brian Branch.
Brian Branch is in concussion protocol. We saw that pretty nasty hit between
Trey
him and
McBride.
Trey McBride, where they both kind of lowered their helmets into each other. And I mean, I don't want to necessarily speculate, but watching from the broadcast, looked like Brian Branch may have been out, like literally unconscious.
He wasn't moving for a few seconds. That was and McBride really lowered his head really low there too.
What made it more can't even find the word to describe it, but it was initially ruled as a neck injury for Brian Branch, which was why I was like, oh, that's kind of scary.
Yeah.
That was from the Detroit Lions PR Twitter page. But I mean, he was out of the tent. He was on the sidelines. It wasn't like they took him like back, when the Lions were on that drive. So I don't know. Hopefully, to Chris's point, you get a Monday night game, you get an extra day.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna get a bye week. But that's the monkey's paw curling, man, because it's an early bye week,
right?
And
it looks good now. But what if the injury bug hits in week 8, right? Like then it doesn't look great. But I mean,
it's a Monday night game against a 3-0 Seahawks team.
True. But in terms of like coverage, like I think they're going to be okay at linebacker. Obviously, Derek Barnes is kind of the best one to play Sam, so they might have to figure out a little bit different how they want to play in their base defense. I think it was Neiman who was playing some Sam in this game. Madden Sim All-Star Ben Neiman. And to me, like the one I'm most worried about is Branch, because I don't think they have the men. One, because he's still playing fantastically. I think part of the reason the Lions aren't getting beat deep right now are because their safety play is outstanding. Both him and Kirby Joseph, I think, are huge parts of their success so far. And so I don't want Branch to miss a single snap going forward. And we don't know with concussions. It was a brutal looking hit, but we saw this week how Alex Anzalone nearly made it through concussion protocol. We'll get Alex Anzalone back next week, I would imagine. And with that extra day, you got the extra Monday night game. Like maybe there's a chance Branch returns. Don't want to see Sam Laporta go, but remember what happened last time he got injured at the end of regular season, literally week 18. He fought through a lower leg injury. So I'm optimistic. Maybe this is just blind faith, but he's a tough dude. I think he'll sweat it out and we'll be okay there.
Well, we're going to dive into some of those individual players next and give some attention to the safeties. Also understanding that it might make Mel Kiper upset. So, but you know what doesn't make any of us upset is plenty of Righteous Felon craft jerky and meat sticks. It's the jerky that fuels the Detroit Lions POD cast on a Lions victory Monday coming down the pike. By the way, speaking of our old friends, I don't know if you knew this, Jamal Williams has had this victory Monday over at the Saints, and he has 2 very cute Egyptian cats. And I'm going to unfortunately miss them this Monday because the Saints did not win. But I will be having plenty of Righteous Felon jerky with 16 to 20 grams of protein in each 2-ounce bag, and meat sticks with 8 grams of protein. That's a lot of protein. Keeps you going. If it's good enough for us, it'll be good enough for you too. Trust me, we love this stuff. Righteous Felon is based in Westchester, Pennsylvania. They use locally sourced all-natural black Angus beef, and they pride themselves on superior quality, revolutionary branding, and unique flavors that go beyond the stereotypical jerky offering. We're back to our usual POD15 code now. Go to righteousfelon.com and use the promo code POD15 at checkout. That gets you what, Jeremy?
50% off.
15% off your order. How much is that, Ryan?
I teach English.
Okay. It's 15%. That's off your order. So you pay for 85% of your order.
That's not bad. It's better than paying for 100% of it.
That is absolutely correct. We all graduated high school, I think.
Do you see that math?
Promo code POD15 at checkout at righteousfelon.com. We'll be right back on the Pride of Detroit POD cast.
Okay. Whew.
Hi, guys.
What's up, everybody?
By the way, Tigers now control. Well, Tigers now control their destiny too.
We're gonna jump right into baseball. Right into baseball.
Listen, you wanted to bring up Michigan, so I'm just gonna say this. This is
I'll do it now.
Oh, yeah,
that was on your stream.
Yeah, that was on my stream. Yes, I'm just saying, good weekend all around for the Michigan area sports fan, right?
For sure. I mean, yeah, I put it out there on Twitter yesterday. Like things seem to really be turning around for Detroit sports, and it's pretty damn exciting. We got a heck of an ending to the Red Wings regular season with some incredible endings to some of their last games. The Tigers are, like you said, they control their own destiny with 3 series left
I believe I want to say there's about
Two?
there's two series
right?
left.
Is there only two
Rays
left?
and
Wow.
Rays
And White Sox, right?
and
White Sox is the other one,
yeah.
which is great, right?
Yeah, so six games left. Home for Tampa Bay. Actually, home stand for all 6 games. So Tampa Bay and Chicago.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, the Twins seem to be Twins and Royals both are dropping game after game.
Yeah. Twins lost
And
both games today.
They did lose
Yes.
both games today.
The Royals, I think, lost as well.
The Royals have lost 7 games in a row.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I know.
Everything's coming up Tigers.
The Mariners are kind of creeping up a little bit too, but
They've got some games to make up though.
The Tigers could jump both the Twins and the Royals with the way things are heading right now. But
This happened in the bottom of the ninth today, though. So suck it, Seattle.
Never mind. I thought Seattle was in control of that game.
Nope.
They were.
I'm doing everything I can to be engaged with the Tigers, but also not watch any of it because I feel like I'm a jinx. Plus,
Jinx.
I don't have Bally Sports, and I'm not gonna pay extra for Bally Sports because F Bally Sports. But
Here's the thing, everyone's telling me this Tigers team in the playoffs is basically house money. And I agree with that. But you also have to understand when you say the word Tigers playoffs, I turn into that dog who gets the Vietnam flashbacks, except instead of Nam, it's just Big Poppy crushing a grand slam in the ALCS. I've been hurt by this team probably worse than I've been hurt by the Lions at times.
But I mean, everything is house money if they make the postseason, right?
We say that now. Famous last words.
Nah.
I think that's one of those things though where you almost kind of catch the Tigers into a similar spot that the Red Wings were at the end of the year, where it's a young and plucky team who, I mean, God, everybody's putting up their graphs and their charts and everything, but August 11th, the Tigers had a 0.2% chance of making the playoffs and were 55-63. And on September 22nd, they now have a 61.9% chance to make the playoffs.
Go Loins, go baseball cats.
The other thing that's crazy is that on August 11th, the White Sox were 28-91. They are so bad. Have you seen what their social?
They just hit 120 losses. Yeah.
Their social media manager is not even posting the final score of the game. He just says final score available on the MLB app.
That's amazing.
Oh, I love
that.
I love what they just posted. It's the guy peeling off the freeway meme where it's on the freeway post final score, and then the off ramp is literally anything else. The car is admin.
100. Oh, they tied at 62 Mets, and they surpassed the 2003 Tigers. So.
I went to some of those late Tigers games in 2003 as a young teenager, and
just having fun, right?
I mean, they're $5 tickets, and
God,
$5. How much of that is back? You were a teenager. How much is $5 back?
And I got a free phosphate with it.
What about some drugs with that?
Were you sneaking in some Zima?
That's right. Yeah, I was going to go into a story about that, but I actually don't want to.
Okay.
Yeah, let me get into a bunch of alerts because we got a bunch of alerts plus something I'm very excited about here that I wanted to
say. Here's the mail; it never fails.
We'll get to it.
Makes me wanna. Okay.
No decaf. First of all, thank you for the 51-person raid, and then somehow also a 5-person raid.
Well, I think I got split. We had up to 80 people there, but half of them were able to raid, but the other half weren't. I don't know what I effed up there. So
whatever. But either way, thank you to everybody who showed up to Chris's post-game show and stuck around for this one.
People demanded I go live, so I'm like, you know what? F it, we ball.
Let Jeremy get through the alerts.
Rob Van Duggan, thank you for the 24-month subscribe channel. Says still worried about the offense. Second half, 4 punts. Ugh, but go Lions. Fair enough. Robo 1207, 35 months subscribed on Twitch, says great road win. Let's go. It's always hard to win on the road, especially against a team that was playing with a lot of confidence and should.
Well, was it really a road game when it's 50-50?
Well, Also, it sounded like when the Lions were on defense on third down, like it was much louder than when the Cardinals were on defense on third down.
It's true. It's crazy. David Lunch, thank you for the 21 months, says win, baby, win. Lions Blood 38 months says what week 5 bye may be a blessing, which we just talked about.
Can I throw in? I'm not interrupting you. I'd like to throw in an alert from YouTube.
Okay, I was going to get to it, but go ahead.
Oh, okay.
You can get to it. It's fine if you want to take it. That's
I didn't
your
know
domain.
you had them. Okay. Rise the Beast gives us $5. Says, "Can you guys mute Discord while recording? Your notifications are making me think I am getting messages." Lamau, go Loins, and great job, guys.
He actually wrote Lions. Don't misquote our fans. It's part of our, we're reporters here. We gotta make sure our quotes are accurate.
I'm a big believer in muting Discord, though. Those notifications drive me crazy. That's my fault. Nothing else.
I don't even have Discord up, but I think Discord just runs in the background, so anytime there's a message, it does that.
Yeah.
But I don't get a lot of Discord messages, so that was probably just the Discord alert that I'm live.
Streamer mode.
Yeah, there's streamer mode.
Anyway, get to the rest of them because
100 bits from Big Al.
Kill me.
Zern Baby Zern, 40 months subscribed channel, says nothing better than Lions win, baby. Lefty Detroit, 51 months. J-Dubs has reached a 7-stream streak. Just says streaking. Ronald Doking. Thank you for the 14 months subscribed to the channel. Warbo, thank you for following on Twitch. Mgo Korg, 41 months, throws an LFG. Lefty Detroit, 12 straight streams. Watched. DJ Juan, thank you for the 10 months, says Shamalama Ding Dong. Okay, sure. T-Gast. I'm sorry, Toast. I can read. T_OAS. 9 months subscribed to the channel. That's the Twitch, baby. Says let's go Loins. They did say Loins. Your boy Maroc, 29 months, says go Loins. Derek Boberic, 36 months, says victory tastes good, and just wait till Victory Monday tomorrow. JW Legina, 27 months, says MCDC Lions victory. Derek Boberic, 100 bits, says do SM. I don't know what that means. Do SM. I don't know what that means. Derek Boberic, 100 bits.
I might, but
says, do we now have our own version of the tush push behind Monty? Maybe, but the Lions didn't convert on a 4th and 1, so they're going to need to.
It's not like an automatic thing. It just seems to like spontaneously happen, unlike the tush push.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should talk about the 4th and 1 later.
20 bits from Big Al says Monty is a beast. Kyle Sleeps, 33 months, says you can't just let a guy like Goff in the open field like that. Can't believe the Cards weren't using a spy. Well played. And really quick on that play, I don't think it was a designed run. I think it was a, hey, throw the ball if it's open. If not, go down. And he was like, oh, I don't need to go down. There's no one in front of me. I'm just going to go pick up the first down and end the ball game. Which, yeah, kudos to him, right? First down. David Reinfurt, thank you for the 36 months, says currently drinking a Terrion Arnold Palmer, which is half iced tea, half gasoline. Delicious. I'll take it.
I have questions, but sure.
Well, I mean, you didn't put out the Honolulu Blue drink, so this is what people have to resort to.
I'm sorry. Yes, let me get to that this week. I know it's been on my docket. I know.
Space Kataz, 32 months, says now that's fucking football right there. Men puke, men poop on the field. Men carry other men 10 yards.
Don't read that. Oh. It changed. Okay, never mind.
What did Ryan say like 2 minutes ago? Don't interrupt me!
And now you've added jerky in your mouth on top of it.
No, these are pretzels.
Space Kataz, let me read out your whole subscription alert in full, uninterrupted. Now that's fucking football right there. Men puke, men poop on the field, men carry other men 10 yards after they stop moving forward. Thank you, Space Kataz, for 32 months. D-Terp, 33 months. Just did one of these. Or I guess this is more accurate.
Stonks.
Kami Tommy, a first-time subscriber. Thank you for that name tickled me. I'm sorry. Duck Lion, 21 months. Duck Lion's always here. Appreciate you, buddy. Eric 8504, 3 months, says thanks for 3 lovely months, guys. Hey, Thanks for your support for 3 lovely months. JC2533, 12 months, says Go Loins. JC, a 20 stream streak, which I think is the longest I've seen. Appreciate that. Downgrade, 5 months subscribe, says 5 months, bitches. Bears quarterbacks. I don't exactly know what that means, other than maybe the fact that you just want us to acknowledge that the Bears still have no offense, which is hilarious.
That was the worst game I watched all day. I watched a lot of games today. That game was
but it was close,
bad.
and there weren't a lot of close ones in the 1 p.m. game, so I ended up watching a lot of it.
Theoretically close.
It was definitely a mid-off, as the kids would say.
Yes. Joshua Mercer 100 bits says Justin Simmons has a trophy case of picks off Mahomes. Oh, did that just happen? Is Justin Simmons on the Falcons? Is that where he went? I think that is where he went.
Yeah, that is where he went, right?
Crazy. RGA 9-bit says Chris eating pretzels brought to you by Kelly Stafford.
What does that mean?
She threw pretzels at people.
Oh, yeah, that's
right. Okay. Hey, let's not disparage Dot's pretzels. These things are like goated.
No, those are really good. And they're so thick on stream that I mistook them for jerky.
All right.
The Falcons crushing the Chiefs tonight would cap off probably the weirdest week 3 I've seen in recent memory.
I don't know. Was the first set of games that weird?
Denver crushing Tampa.
Okay, that one was weird.
Who had the Vikings boat racing the Texans 34-7?
Okay. I think I had them winning, but I didn't have
Carolina beating the Raiders.
Oh, see, I didn't even pay
handily
attention to that. I mean,
that's Giants.
That's the Raiders.
That game ended up a 1-score game, but that was not even close for a long time between Browns and Giants.
I mean, there's a reason why I wanted Andy Dalton to be the Lions' backup, by the way.
By the way, that I got to give there was my favorite play of the day was in that Giants-Browns game. You would have loved this, Jeremy. Devin Singletary decided to slide down at the 1-yard line instead of running it in for a touchdown when it was going to the 2-minute warning.
Selfless. Yeah. Love that.
I was doing Red Zone Radio, and Steve was asking me why didn't he just score there? I'm like, because then they could have probably scored a touchdown and an onside kick. That's the right move. The game's over. Don't worry about it.
Quarterback controversy in Green Bay.
I knew you'd get here.
He's played well. I give ton of credit to the coaching staff because that's crazy, but also he's only been there a month. For him to run out there and rack up 2 wins, 2-0 versus Jordan Love
0-1. It makes you think. It makes you think. Why'd you give that guy all that money?
I'll be honest, Ryan.
You could have just traded a 7th-round pick and got a starting quarterback out of it.
I'll be honest. During the 1:00 games, you're doing your victory laps. I'm like, God, Ryan's being annoying, and then I stop myself. I'm like, Ryan has earned every fucking right to be annoying, given the shit he's taken for 3 years.
Thank you, because I even have John Whitaker responding to one of my tweets, and he's like, Aiden Hutchinson 3 interceptions, Malik Willis 2 interceptions, makes you think.
And listen,
is that Canadian math or what, John?
I think we can all agree. I don't know if this Malik Willis thing is going to continue, but let Ryan enjoy it for a day, even if it is for the Packers.
And because it's going to be fleeting, it seems
so you
agree Jordan Love.
Okay.
Yeah, come on, I'm yucking it up, but I'm just saying that Jordan Love's probably gonna be back next week.
Listen, you'll be able to say the Packers then waste him, just like I am going to be able to turn my dying embers of Anthony Richardson love into the Colts have screwed this up.
Yeah, man, I can't wait for Jordan Love to play bad for me to be like, and you just got this guy on the bench and you're not using him, huh?
Yeah. And maybe he'll get much like Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield and all these other quarterbacks having resurgences now. He'll go somewhere else and in 3 years be awesome again.
But I mean,
apparently. That's the theme of this year.
How many times do we need to see a mid quarterback thrive because of a good offensive coach? I mean, it's happened
or even just a coaching staff that wants you.
Right. But it's happened for a decade in San Francisco. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Look
at Flacco down the stretch with Cleveland last year.
Right. You just need a smart offensive coach and a good system and obviously a supporting cast, right? I think that's why you're seeing Sam Darnold succeed a lot in Minnesota. That's a pretty darn good supporting cast.
Andy Dalton threw 37 times, completed 26 passes for 319 yards and 3 touchdowns.
The guy's just a gamer.
Fucking Dalton.
Hey, you got to put some respect on.
Rewind
Probably one of the greatest second-round picks of all time.
Rewind the tape to free agency podcast. Andy Dalton was on my list for backup quarterback. All right.
Yeah, the one last thing about that Raiders game, though, is did you see Antonio Pierce post-game was saying that Raiders players were making business decisions in this game? Oh, yeah. Hey, took week 3 for the coach to be publicly calling out the team.
Okay.
Yeah, that's some.
Can we end the Dan Campbell comparisons right now?
Yes.
Right now?
We should have a
It's
while back.
over.
Yes.
Like, first of all,
You know
the
who
guy
I'm
is a coward on fourth down. Second of all, while Dan Campbell has called players out, he's done it in a much different way than that, like a subtle way. Like, listen, our players need to be better. That's about it.
Tasteful.
Yeah.
This guy's now getting closer comps to, like, I don't know, Deion Sanders after a loss. I just want to say for the Panthers have said that like, I think there was that report that they might try to go back, like, in spite of the benching, they want to go back to Bryce Young.
We're just giving him a little break.
They put him in timeout.
Timeout is my favorite thing for a little quarterback is putting the little quarterback in timeout until he emerges from the room
together
as a big man. He needs to come out of that room as a big man.
He needs to sit on the naughty spot for a couple weeks.
Oh, if the Red Rifle keeps playing like this, I mean,
Andy Dalton just took your job, bro. I'm sorry.
You just lost your job to Andy Dalton, Bengals legend.
It's unfixable stuff too. It's unfortunate with Bryce Young, and I want to move on for sure. But like, you watch him, and it's like you can't throw the football off your tippy toes.
Yeah,
like you can't do it. And Kyler Murray, he can get away with doing it because he can, different arm angles, and he can run faster than Bryce Young can. But like, he didn't tonight.
Bryce Young is not the worst quarterbacking I've seen from a young quarterback this season.
No,
we all know who that is, right?
Is this a Caleb Williams thing?
No.
Okay. Is this a
Will Levis thing?
This is a Will Levis thing.
Okay.
1,000,000% a Will Levis.
Can you imagine moving on from Malik
Ryan
Willis?
Tannehill?
Because you think Will Levis is the guy?
But Malik Willis, and I think Ryan Tannehill is probably better right now than Will Levis.
Well, he ain't better than Malik Willis because the Packers had a chance to get him when Jordan Love went down.
Malik Willis.
And they chose Malik Willis. And I just want to say thank you so much to Jeremy for understanding why I deserve the right to be annoying for all the crap that I took.
Yes, 100%.
Thank you.
100%.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. We've held this off long enough. I'm very excited about it. A fan of ours, and I didn't respond to your email. I apologize, Eric. I got tied up. But I read your email, and I got really excited about it. This is from Eric W. I don't know how much of his name wants to be revealed, so we'll just leave it at Eric W., who sent us a gift here. Oh, it's got a note in it too. This is literally me opening it up. Do I want to read it? I don't think I'll read the thank you part of it. I won't read you what it is so that I can literally unbox it and surprise you guys. Mm-hmm. Hey fellas, as a token of my appreciation for you guys, I have some gifts for you. Redacted. Anyways, I really appreciate listening to you guys and reading all your content. So while this is my little gift back to you guys, I thought you could sign them and give them out to subscribers or keep some copies for yourself. I'm sending the proper marker to use too. There are a couple copies for each guy.
Okay. I have something to show off too, by the way, but I'll wait for you to be done.
Here's the permanent marker, if that's a hint as to what maybe this is.
It's blue.
This is incredible. Eric made... Was it Eric? It was Eric, right? Eric W.
Yeah, Eric.
Made custom playing cards with jersey inserts of us.
Really? Wow.
There's Chris's.
That's insane.
With the Detroit City FC jersey, too.
There's Eric.
Wow. Dude, these are so cool.
Not the best picture of me, but I'll take it.
That's the best. That's the best.
I can't focus. I can't see it.
There it is.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what face that is.
That looks like you after a shot of pickle juice during November.
And there's Ryan.
In my Holly red. I love it.
And so there's, I think, 2 of these for each of us. And gave us a pen to sign them.
Well, we'll have to figure out how to get some of those over to me, but yeah, I'll definitely sign those.
Yeah, and then maybe
Dude, those are so freaking cool.
Those are
it's right.
awesome.
It's super cool. Like I definitely,
Those are awesome.
I don't know. I kind of don't want to give them away, but at the same time, so Eric apparently works for a place called Reclaim Customs, which works in cards. He says here, I've done work for Kirby Joseph and Aiden Hutchinson and several other non-Detroit Lions athletes and celebrities. So, amazing. Like super cool.
Like that's the coolest thing I've seen
right
in some time.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even look at the back here, but it has our names on the back here, so like it's backwards, but
How do I clip
Eric
something
Schlitt,
again?
Pride of Detroit. And then the fine print isn't anything. It's just this autograph is guaranteed authentic. But how freaking cool is that? That's just that's super cool.
I can't begin to tell you
And
how cool that is.
you'll be happy to know too.
Hey,
Spelled the name right.
I was kind of hoping he would have slapped a C on Eric. Because then that's even more rare in the card community when you get a misprint.
Right. So I haven't thought about what we should do for, like, we need to send one of these to the community in some sort of way and probably tie it to Movember. Is it an auction item? Are people actually going to buy our cards? Is it a raffle item? I'm not sure. We'll think about it. But I don't know. That's crazy. Thank you again,
That
Eric.
is so cool.
Sorry, hold on. I have to post this to Twitter for a second. Like,
I love sports cards.
Yeah.
I've been annoying Jeremy about them recently because I want to get a Pavel Datsyuk rookie card where apparently he wore number 56.
that's insane.
But those are so cool because they look
Those are
so
awesome.
freaking legit.
Right?
Like
It literally has a
patches
it has
the
a
patches
jersey
are
insert.
sick.
Yeah.
The patches are sick. Those are sick patches.
It's insane. When I got that email, I'm like, what? Is this for real? And I couldn't wait to go to the P.O. box and see if it was there, and it was. And so, Eric, I'm sorry I didn't reply to your email. I don't know if you're watching live. I don't know if you have like a Twitch or a YouTube handle, but if you're not here, then
that's great.
Then why am I talking to you? You're not here.
Yeah, and let me do whatever I can so that you can custom make me a dual patch, me and Malik Willis, because I want that now.
I just want a hybrid, like a St. Brown jersey, where half of it is you, half of it is Malik Willis.
Oh man, how gross would that be? Half Lions, half Packers. I mean, that
No,
truly
go
is like
Titans.
the same.
Go Titans, just to rub it in
Go
their
Titans.
face.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, those are super cool though, man. Shout out you. Those are so cool.
Can I shout out someone as well as far as art kind of stuff? This wasn't exactly like someone from them gave it to me. My dad, however, found this from a artist in Kalamazoo, Michigan called Mike Clock, and I thought this was really cool. I want to get this framed, hang it up here because people keep thinking I'm not a Lions fan. But this was a kind of a cartoon artist in West Michigan, and I got this for my birthday.
Oh,
so
I love that, the retro look.
Yeah,
That's
just
cool.
a very retro poster look.
Yeah,
So.
it looks like the cover of like a program from the 1960s.
Yeah. I used to collect a few of those Tigers programs, so it definitely speaks to my brain. Yeah, the name of this artist again, he's like on Instagram at stuffed_brain, Mike KLOK. But this stuff is cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I usually get like a nice little Lions thing now and then, but this is probably the coolest one I've gotten.
We never, to be clear, we never explicitly asked for anything, but if you ever have the inkling to do so, you can hit !PO box in the chat, and our PO box address will show up there. And even if you want to send something to Chris out in California, you can send it to me, and I'm more than happy to ship it to him.
We'll ship it along. Yeah, I know.
Which
I'm
I'll
a bit
do with
on
these
an
cards.
island here. Yeah,
I'll
get
so
them.
cool.
I'll sign them. I'll send them back. It'll be good.
Okay, you want to get to it? Finish out this podcast,
We do. Apparently, something interesting happening in the Sunday night game.
Mahomes touchdown.
Mahomes touchdown, so that game's kind of ongoing. By the way, before we get back into it, shout out to our old friend Tim Boyle, back on the field today.
Poor Dolphins, man. They put 2 on IR. Is that right?
Did they finally put him on IR?
I think they did that earlier in the week, right? I feel like they did.
I'm not sure,
That's
but
a bad situation.
I just love watching Matthew Stafford with like nothing around him.
I didn't see any of that game.
Oh my gosh. I kept on flipping back and forth.
Yeah. I wish
I feel like this is every year we have a week of just absolute sheer chaos where we have all these like beliefs on teams, Ryan, that are like come in with either 2-0 or 0-2, and we just assume they'll be the worst or the best forever. And these scripts get flipped so hard in week 3 or week 4. And I love when this week happens. It's just it's anarchy, it's chaos. It makes the NFL fan of me very happy.
Oh, sure, man. Because this is officially like there's been 3 weeks now, and everybody's either a winner or a loser at this point. You know what I mean?
The only real, I think the only real loser at this point is Mel Kiper. Yes, I am going to yell at him more. Like I thought that was Some people we talked a little bit about this on the radio. Like I don't think its offense is really down, but like this is the part of the league kind of reverting to a running offense too. You're just burning clock, which means we'll score less points. But also at the same time, I'm sorry, like high safeties and and cover 2 and shell, like these are all things that have been around for a while. I'm sorry that the defense has finally adjusted to the offense. I'm not going to scream, bitch, cry, and demand it be made illegal right away because someone's making Bryce Young look bad.
Which is in turn making Mel Kiper look bad. But Mel Kiper's done enough of making himself look bad at various times, various draft takes.
I just thought it was a silly thing, but at the same time, too, it is fascinating to watch. I'll be curious if scoring is down, if there will be a larger cry out from people, but I don't know, whatever.
It's just crazy to me. Like that's something that you would like hear about in basketball, like changing like how you can play defense in terms of being in the lane or not. And it's like, how in football are you like, what? Stop. Come on.
This has been going on for years too, by the way.
Manning and Brady were carving it up in the 2000s. Like,
right. But like, yards per attempt have been down steady for like 2-3 years. Air yard per pass attempt has been down for years. And all I say is like, great, line's ahead of the curve because that's their game.
Run the football, baby.
Yeah. Try to run it on.
You want to run too high? Okay, go ahead.
Everyone looked at the Jim Harbaugh hire to the Chargers as, oh, Jim Harbaugh, quarterback whisperer in to help Justin Herbert. And I was like, Jim Harbaugh, O-line enjoyer, getting Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater.
Yeah, Rashawn Slater, but
he was better in this game.
I'm just saying.
Joe Alt.
Did Alt get injured? I thought I saw somewhere that Alt got injured.
He did get injured. I don't know how serious it is, but I think he did come out of the game today. Chargers losing to Pittsburgh. Yeah. Which again, as we all knew, Ryan, the 2 3-0 teams would be the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Minnesota Vikings.
You know, the Bears definitely made the right decision by moving on from their quarterback, right?
This is crazy because like
my QB wins argument for the week, you know.
Those aren't the only 2-0 teams left, are there?
3-0.
3-0 team.
Steelers and who? Vikings?
Oh, that
Steelers
is.
and Vikings,
and Seahawks.
yeah.
And Seahawks.
And Seahawks, yeah, excuse me. And Bills have a chance to be 3-0
so the Chiefs
on Monday. And so are the Chiefs tonight, yeah. But, like, yeah, those are the first teams at 3-0.
That's crazy.
It's crazy what's going on with Justin Fields just because, Ryan, like, there's negative incentive for the Steelers to... I thought there was negative incentive for the Steelers to use him because they'll have to pay a higher draft pick to the Bears. Whereas Russell Wilson's on a vet minimum. And they're probably not going to go to him ever.
I'm not really concerned about it based on the way that Ryan Poles draft picks are playing. But Lord Goofa, shout out Lord Goofa, reminding me that Mel Kiper made himself look bad when he said that he would retire if Jimmy Clausen isn't a Hall of Famer.
I love that. you remember when we were at the draft and I just got really charged up when he was screaming about Myles Garrett?
Yeah,
And
dinosaurs and halls and
Dinosaurs, Motown, Journey.
Hall and Oates. Yeah.
All right, let me read the last few alerts, and then we should get back.
Let's go.
We're not done with alerts. Okay.
They keep popping up. Ben Freddy, thank you for the 7 months. Says, go Lions, please score in the second half next game. I agree. Joshua Mercer, 100 bits, says, yep, missed opportunity for us, by us, for a SB advantage, Super Bowl advantage. He would have been a huge pickup. I don't know what you're talking about. Leads the league with picks since, you're talking about the safety. And he owns Mahomes. Got it. Joshua Mercer, another 100 bit, says, I hope Jordan Love comes back next week and stinks it up so Packers fans seriously consider if Willis is better. And then a 16 months resub from Big Z Dubs says, was worried the Tigers win would jinx the Lions, but the sports gods are smiling on Detroit right now. Go Loins.
I know I am glad it didn't. I know there's some people who get mad if you imply such a thing would be, but I had PTSD about. I mean, that's what happened last week. Tigers won.
That's
Lions
the reason why
lost.
Lions lost.
Yeah, it's just like when it was with the Pistons last year. Like, there's just some weird juju in the water. I'm just glad we had enough to share this time.
I mean, Pistons couldn't win anyways. You're
The
saying
rare times
the
they did
Pistons
win,
died
the
for the
Lions
Lions
lost.
to win?
You mean the Lions died for the Pistons to win on those
No,
dates?
That didn't happen. Oh, you're saying that. All right. I don't remember when the Pistons
Whatever.
won.
It doesn't matter. It's the Pistons. Who cares?
That sounds a lot like me. All right, let's get it. I'm gonna stop chewing in
My
the mic.
nose is itching like crazy now too. Let me find my water bottle real quick.
Ooh, Matt Pasanko was there at the game. How fun was it? And give me an estimate of a realistic split between Lions and Cardinals fans. Give me your best estimate from inside the stadium.
For those inside the stadium, you said?
Yeah, Matt Pasanko in our chat just said I was there. 60-40? That's crazy. I don't even know which direction that is, and it's crazy. And follow up, did you see Brad Holmes yell in an elevator? Because I haven't seen that video yet. Why hasn't that happened yet? It's a road win. This is what we do. You're on the line side. Yeah, I mean, in the line side, I'm sure it was nuts.
Yeah.
It looked nuts. Brad Holmes was yelling on the field. Is that true? Were you there? I hope so. I hope that's real. Now we just kind of want to search Twitter for Brad Holmes real quick. But no, we're getting into it. Let's finish the show. It's already 9:00. I got a whole nother show I got to record with Eric.
Oh God. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. And my nose is starting to itch like crazy. So yeah, I would also like to go to bed because at some point I'd like to enjoy my birthday sometime this week too. Welcome back to the Pride of Detroit POD wrapping up a Detroit Lions win on the road. Not quite the road. It seems like we were just talking with some of our people in the chat. It might have been 50-50, maybe even 60-40 Lions fans there. Hey, man, what can I say? It was always there, just waiting to be activated. Let's go through some individual grades and thoughts on everyone. We should probably start with Jared Goff. A bit of a better outing for Jared Goff, but not without the blemishes. The pick in particular was kind of nasty. I wasn't quite sure what he was doing there. But again, a little bit more of a balanced day. He took 2 sacks on the day. And I don't know, Jeremy, like, what'd you feel about Jared Goff's performance in this? I feel it was kind of addition by subtraction, not having to need him to carry the game. On the other hand, definitely some minuses to say.
A little bit. I would say way, way, way more good than bad. He looked a lot more comfortable. He wasn't throwing off his back foot like in previous weeks. He looked in command of the offense. I mean, I'm going to sit here and complain about Jared Goff when he has a 12 of 12 performance in the first half. The interception, I feel like that's a common thing with him. It's a edge rusher slash outside linebacker on the line, drops into coverage, and Jared just never even sees him. If he was like, the announcer said like he was getting greedy on this play, which was the exact opposite of what he was doing. He was checking down without kind of checking in on what defense they were running. Can't happen, right? And kudos to the defense for immediately getting a 4 and out after that. It's huge in that game. But I thought in general, Goff did what he needed to do, and also give him credit for converting 3rd and 12 to win the game, right? The throw to Amon-Ra was huge. I mean, it really looked like the Lions were about to go 3 and out and somehow give the Cardinals yet one more chance to win that ball game. And just an absolute rifle to Amon-Ra on a play. And I know we all joke about the wheels play, and I think we should joke about it because the game was essentially over anyways. The Lions could have ran out everything but like 20, 30 seconds, so it would have taken a real miracle for the Cardinals to do that. But to see him kind of put the icing on the cake with his little rollout was funny and fun. So I would say like this is a B plus performance from Jared Goff. Can't have the interception. I think he probably took a sack or two that he shouldn't have, or someone with even a little bit of mobility should have avoided. But in general, I think this was the return to form for him in a lot of ways. And I think that's why even with the shutout in the second half, I'm feeling much more better about the offense going forward now.
I'm feeling better about the offense. I'm not sure if it has much to do with Jared Goff. I think he did missed a couple of shots to JMO. He had JMO wide open on the sidelines.
Yeah.
And that was a play that he had him where, the ball was just out of bounds.
Yeah, late ball.
And then, not really sure about what was happening on the other deep shot to JMO. There's 2 guys in coverage. It was just kind of like a ball that went to nowhere. So I don't know if that's miscommunication or whatever it may be. But
that to me is just like, you're going to get one of those plays to JMO every single game where you're just like, who messed up and why does it look so weird? It literally happens every week.
It does. The thing that it's tough for me to almost give Goff a grade because it felt like the keys to the game were taken out of his hands in the second half. It did feel like the Lions took we talked about it in the first segment, but they took their foot off the gas pedal in the second half, and that especially came with the passing game. I didn't think that it wasn't there. They just were opting not to do it, and that was a bummer to me. Like, I don't need to see that. Like, everything was running great in the first half. Jared Goff, there was hardly anything you can pick about his game because he was perfect. So it's kind of an incomplete thing to me, Chris. There was some good from Goff, there was some bad from Goff, and then there were some things that just Goff wasn't given the ability to do because he kind of got the ball taken out of his hands.
All right. Let's talk about the offensive line. We kind of dipped our toes into it a little bit. If you want to do this incomplete again, Ryan, that's fine. I think it's still coming together, but we talked about the 3-man rush that beat the interior. A little bit better than what it had been last week, but better on the run, but definitely not something where I feel incredibly. I don't think this is a strong front 7 that we faced from the Arizona Cardinals. So I am curious how this O-line continues to hold up against, stronger defenses out there, stronger pass rushes. It does leave me with a little bit of pause, but I'll say like a B.
Yeah, and it's almost kind of hard to, again, assess that offensive line in the second half, so to speak, because the Cardinals were selling out to stop the run, right? And they're credit where credit's due. I mean, the David Montgomery play where he's walking on air, right? Like, that's your offensive lineman pushing your guy to get where he needs to be.
Yeah.
I mean, Penei Sewell is kind of still dealing with his foot injury. That's kind of lingering too. They were taking care of him on the sideline. Taylor Decker looking a little older, but I think for the most part, like, aside from the 3-man rush that ended up in a sack on a twist where nobody got picked up, and that was just bad, no good, bad, and dump that in the trash.
Was that more, you think, Glasgow or Ragnow? I couldn't really tell from the play.
I have to go back and watch it on. Yeah. And offensive line is always something that you want to watch on, second go through because naturally you're kind of ball watching a lot of stuff for the most part while you're watching the game. So, Jeremy, any thoughts, takeaways on the offensive line?
I mean, it's just what I mentioned before. The penalties to me were what was most frustrating and uncharacteristic of this group. A false start on Taylor Decker turns a 3rd and 7 into a 3rd and 12. Now, they lucked out because they ran a draw play to Jahmyr Gibbs that converted a 3rd and 12. But even on the game-winning drive, I believe Penei Sewell had a false start that turned a 2nd and 7 into a 2nd and 12. It's just like, you can't have those penalties. Graham Glasgow, 3rd and 1 false start that turned into a 3rd and 6 that they didn't convert. You're making Jared Goff's job a lot harder, and you can't do that on money downs in particular. You can't fall behind the sticks. Have a nice, like I said, this team works best when they're successful on 1st and 2nd down. And if you're getting yourself into a 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, that's this offense's wheelhouse, baby, because they can run the ball and pick it up with David Montgomery, or they can run play action and throw it over your damn head. And you're pulling that out of the holster here. And I don't understand it. It's not like the Cardinals fans were going crazy because half of them were Lions fans. I don't know what's going on, but it just seems like there's a little bit more mental errors. And that's what we're not accustomed to seeing, right? Because this team will physically dominate you if they're on point with their assignments. But all the mental errors, the missed assignments, the false starts, that stuff has got to go. The good news is that stuff will go. This is not a team that makes a lot of mental errors on the offensive line. It'll get fixed, and they'll be fine.
Well, speaking of mental errors, and since we're talking about the mental side of the game, what did you think, Jeremy, of play calling in this game? I know that was kind of a big bugaboo talking about last week against Tampa Bay. There were a few like creative flashes, like we talked a little bit about the hook and ladder play that happened, but and I think we're kind of skirting and dancing around it, that it feels like a tale of two very different halves. A well play called first half, not as very effective in the second half. Do you lay a lot of that at the feet of play calling for the second half, or do you see some other issues?
No, I think play calling is the easy stuff to point to. Like, I didn't like that play call because it didn't work. Okay, right. It didn't work. Like I said, I think this team went into. Did they get more conservative? I don't know if you could say that or not, because they did go for it on 4th down at midfield when they didn't have to in the 4th quarter and didn't convert. Did they run the ball more? Yes. Should they? I mean, that is what we've all been screaming for. That's what worked in the first half. And like I said in the first segment, this team should grind teams down so that they should just be more effective at it. And so if they weren't more effective at running the ball up to scores, that to me is probably more of an execution problem than it is a play calling problem. So I didn't really have an issue with play calling in this game, really on either side of the ball.
Yeah, I felt, as I already said, though, like it felt like they got a little bit more conservative, and I was about ready to tweet something, but then they throw the deep ball to JMO, and it's like, well, it was run deep shot to JMO. It's like, okay, I don't know if I love that either, because to Jeremy's point, I think when you do keep this offense on schedule and you get to even 3rd and 4, Dan Campbell sees 2 plays, not just 1 play to get 4 yards, but 2 plays to get 4 yards. So it's important, I think, that Ben Johnson keeps his foot on the gas, because we know that this offense is their best. I don't know. Is it the best side of the ball anymore? I don't know. Question marks, because the defense is so freaking good. Chris, let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's move over to the defense. Let's talk about some of the key points here. Let's start with the safeties. We talked a little bit about Brian Branch, but Kirby Joseph now through 3 games, 2 picks in the end zone. The man is definitely earning his keep in Detroit, and this safety pairing is definitely probably the strong point of the Detroit Lions right now.
It's incredible, right? Because I think for all of the offensive issues last year, or defensive issues last year, I think that was the most frustrating. And I mentioned it before, like the 3rd and long conversions that they have, just the deep shots where there was miscommunications, people weren't where they were supposed to be. And Branch and Kirby are just locking things down deep. They are not allowing anything to be completed deep. They haven't really in all 3 games so far, not to mention they're getting their hand on the ball all the time. I think Branch had at least 1 more pass breakup in this game. He was leading the league with 5 through 2 weeks. Kirby, when he's not, he had the pass breakup on what was it? It was 4th down, right? In this game? When
they went Trey McBride over the middle, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not just the interceptions with Kirby. Like he's getting in there. And so I still have questions about the outside corners. I think they're having their ups and downs. I would say it was better for someone like Terrion, right, in this game, who overcame another early pass interference penalty that was, again, a little ticky-tacky, but he probably earned that one a little bit more. But again, like, he's in the position to make the play, so just make the play. Easier said than done. I understand that. But in general, I think I'm super. I couldn't be more thrilled with how the safeties are playing. The outside corners, it's the toughest position to play in football, in my opinion. It's going to continue to be tough, and it's going to continue to be tough because they're going to continue to play some really good receivers in this division. So I guess I'm glad like they're not playing Justin Jefferson yet, because I'm hoping by the time that they do, things have kind of been fixed and cleared out.
And credit where credit's due. Carlton Davis, big stop on 4th and 1, right?
Absolutely.
I mean,
Fantastic.
all that eye candy on a 4th and 1 play where you think they'll just go up the middle of James Conner and Kyler Murray, noted not slow guy, noted fast guy. You beat him to the point. And was that officially a Dan Campbell challenge too? Because they keep on calling it a review on.
I think he threw the
broadcast. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. But
can I tell the quick story about that play?
Yeah.
So in case people don't know, I write the recap while it's happening, and so I push updates as they're happening, and so sometimes I do this like. It's a little bit superstitious where I'll just like write out what I think is going to happen, and I'm hoping that the opposite happens. So when they line up for 4th and 1, I go, and the Cardinals successfully tricked the Lions with a run to Kyler Murray. I was half right. Half credit.
Yeah, it almost happened.
I called the Kyler Murray run. I did not call the Lions being able to stop him.
I think, too, to the defensive secondary's credit, Kirby does get the pick. There was another almost pick where I think it was Brian Branch and Kirby collided over there on the sideline as both of them were trying to like field like an arm punt, basically. And I was just really gunning for that prediction that I made on First Bite of Kyler Murray to tie his game high in turnovers. And I was like starting to like half count things. I'm like, there was the throw from the end zone where I thought it was pretty close to intentional grounding. Like,
sure.
It was a non-catchable ball, and he threw it way over, and I was like, that counts. But Kyler Murray was not good after the first couple drives. Like, not good by any means. And
he looked rattled off his game. We talked about it. It looked like he was just throwing balls to see if it could get miracle caught by one of the receivers. Like, wasn't a plan in his head, it felt like.
And there is no Ali McNeil, Levi Onwuzurike. He missed a little bit of time with the back thing early on. Marcus Davenport, did we mention him when we were talking about injuries? He took a little hiatus and came back into the game. The Lions weren't at full strength on defense, missing Derek Barnes too. And the front seven I thought was still really good. They shut down the run entirely. I really want to go back and watch some Mekhi Wingo because he got a lot more tick after the injury from Ali McNeil. He played a lot more. And, some of just the other part-time guys, like I see Rodrigo out there flying around, Jack Campbell's making tackles and stuff. It's cool. It's fun. It's awesome. The Lions front seven.
You bring up Derek Barnes, and I know nearly everyone pointed out, it's like, yeah, that's just hard. When he's off the field, Jeremy, you don't have anything else on the roster to really replace him with.
They tried.
They tried.
Matthew Betts, James Houston. Nobody can be Sam.
Yeah. It's a tough position, and I'm going to be very curious what the Lions decide to do. Do they just do more traditional four-man fronts with 3 linebackers, off-ball linebackers?
No Jack Campbell. No Jack Campbell at Sam linebacker.
No. I honestly think that's probably what they're going to do, though. Not Jack Campbell. I think they're just going to kind of run more 4-man fronts instead of having that 5-man front with Barnes at kind of on the edge there at the Sam linebacker position. So, listen, I think they have the horses to do that. I think having Marcus Davenport is a huge part of that plan. Kind of quiet today. I know he had the illegal hands to the face or something penalty that was unfortunate, but
yeah.
But in general, I'm with you. Like, the front seven looks good. Onwuzurike for the drive or two that he missed, 2 quarterback hits in this game. Aiden, while was relatively quiet on the stat sheet, 6 tackles, 1 sack, also 2 quarterback hits. But at the same time, he was. I think the pressures are going to be high again, right? I think he's going to have probably like 6, 7, 8 pressures in this game, and he probably should going against third or did we get to the 4th string right tackle in this game? I think we did.
count.
We did.
I lost
way
count.
down the chart.
Yeah.
And I know Aiden got credit for that sack, but was Wingo in there too?
Wingo was in there, 100%.
Yeah.
So
They affected Kyler Murray. I mean, you guys talk about how inaccurate Kyler Murray and rattled he was. I think a lot of that is because of the pressure, right? He was throwing off his back foot a lot in this game. The Lions were sending a lot of pressure, and that kind of hurried the clock on Kyler Murray, and some of those deep shots weren't even close.
No, barely close. You speak of the pass rush too, and I don't think I ever expected the same kind of day out of Aiden Hutchinson, but still, 2 quarterback hits in this game and a sack. Like the pressure, the pressure off the edge is real, and like I'm gonna go back to fishing a bit, but like Aiden Hutchinson's doing this while getting clotheslined repeatedly.
yeah, it's one of those things where you don't want him out there with the Waluigi hands that we always talk about, right? I'm sure you don't want to earn that reputation, right? But at the same time, like you gotta see the guy getting, JBL clothesline to the ground. It was, yeah.
But I think in general too, like you have to give the Lions credit for keeping him in the pocket most of the game, because it wasn't just the fact that he didn't rush for a lot of yards. How many times did he escape the pocket and make a play with his arm? Maybe
not
once.
many.
I can't honestly, zero come to mind. And that's
nothing that's super consequential, right?
Right. And
Yeah.
I mean, go back and watch what he did last week. Like there were some insane plays he made, and the Lions just never really allowed him to get out there. They were like, you're going to stay in the pocket. And yeah, you might have more time than if we were just running upfield and trying to beat our one-on-ones, but we think we can beat you if you're a pocket passer. And guess what? They were right.
They were right. They were right. One last note I think we have on the defense is just, again, talking about penalties. I don't remember the full breakdown of penalties, Jeremy, but
I don't know offense for defense, but yeah, the 2 pass interferences, illegal hands to the face, roughing the passer, a late hit. I feel like that was the only time the Cardinals ever scored, is they were aided by one of those penalties.
Yeah. Like that's I think part of what was floating in my head is like if this defense was, that's the one main knock I have on this defense right now. If it was more disciplined, there'd be even more of a gap in this game. In fact, there'd probably be more of a gap that in a lot of these other games. And I know, again, a lot of the onus right now on the Lions needing to play better probably falls in the offense, but if they could just figure out a way to stop some of these DPIs, stop some of these ticky-tack penalties, and stop putting themselves in positions to get the laundry thrown on them, Ryan, it get them off the field sooner.
I can guarantee you that that's going to be the thing that is, a pain in Dan Campbell's side when he's reviewing this game. I'm sure he already thinks about talking about the penalties, and one of my favorite Dan Campbellisms is we got to clean it up. We will clean it up. But I mean, truly, like we just talked about all the defensive penalties, and Jeremy, you talked a bunch about how, on offense, it's just really not doing yourself any favors by putting yourself behind the sticks when you have a nice run on first down and it's 2nd and 6 and then it's 2nd and 11. And that's frustrating. And they have to clean that stuff up. I trust that they will, because they have the most disciplined coaching staff that we've seen here in some time. And that's going to get through to the players at some point.
And can we just stop here for a minute and be like, this team was sloppy with the penalties today and had a 2-score lead for almost the entire game. Last week, they go 1-7 in the red zone, and they almost take it. They almost still win the game against a decent Bucs team. I know they lost today. They didn't have their cleanest game against the Rams. The Rams are now, they got to win. They just beat the 49ers. This team is not hitting its stride, and I understand that's true of probably a lot of teams right now, but we know what the Lions are capable. We've seen them play at a high level before. We know they're going to get their way back, and they're surviving, playing nowhere near their full potential. And I think being 2-1 while doing that, you got to be pretty happy about that.
Yeah, and I do need to add something to it, because I saw some people trying to retroactively giving the Rams all the injuries they've already had. Much like that, Bucks went out today without Vita Vea and without Cam Johnson. When we start talking about, well, the Lions were in these close games with teams that then went out and got, the brakes beat off them or whatever, you have to understand that they weren't in that state when the Lions are playing them. The Rams O-line did not start the game as a walking mash unit. They started with both Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. Yes, they lost them through the game, but you still had to game plan for all of them. Like Vita Vea was in 2.5 quarters of, or maybe 3/4 of the Tampa Bay game. Like I'm asking people to understand how time works and how and where these injuries happen.
And even beyond that,
yeah.
like the transitive property doesn't work in the NFL.
Transitive wins aren't real.
Right.
It's not real anywhere, but transitive wins are especially not real
like
in the NFL.
maybe the Bucks are just a little bit better of a matchup against the Lions than they were. Who'd they lose to today?
Broncos.
The Broncos, right? Like
yeah.
And what I really like Lions fans kind of rationalizing, coping a little bit, but I think it's a cool idea is like the Lions are wearing teams out. So the reason why the Rams got shellacked in week 2 is because they were still hurting from week 1.
This is the you play the 49ers and
right.
you're not the same team next week.
Right. Yeah. And so that's what happens. That's what happened to the Bucks. They wore themselves out. They had and this was the letdown game after giving the Lions everything they got. And so next week, oh boy, the Cardinals, they're not going to score any points, and then people are going to question whether this was a good performance. But no, it's really just
they're playing the Commanders next week. That would
okay,
be
well,
a bad loss.
Well, we might see the end of the trend there because the Commanders are they won a game though too.
No, they're playing on Monday in the doubleheader. So
are they 0-2?
No, they won a game.
They beat
the
Giants. They beat the Giants, I thought.
Yeah. Sean Payton is going to send Dan Campbell a fruit basket. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
For softening up the Bucks for him.
That's right.
Yeah. It's a fun. That's fun. It's fun. Football's fun again.
It's fun to think that the Lions could I don't honestly believe that's happening. I don't believe that's really ever been a thing.
We're waiting for more data.
But I love the idea that the Lions are the kind of team where you can have a letdown game after because you treated it like the Super Bowl. You treated the Lions like it was your Super Bowl. I mean, that was
definitely true of the Rams and Bucks, with definitely being these grudge matches from the playoffs too.
Did you hear the quote? Someone, I can't. I should pull up the actual quote, but like someone asked Todd Bowles after the Bucks game, like he said like there were people in the boxes, in the luxury boxes, like tearing up after the win. It was that important to them. And Todd Bowles is like, tell me those people's names. It's week 2. Well, we can't be crying over wins now. But like dude, that's crazy to me. Like that's Bucks front office guys. I don't like. Again, this is based on someone else's report, not my own. Is reportedly like tearing up because they beat the Lions. Can we
in week 2?
In week 2. But like they beat the Lions. That was the big emotional, huge win for the franchise that proved to them they were legitimate. They beat the Lions.
What a change of archetypes, of characteristics there. Right. This would not be a PODcast recap without at least talking some special teams. First off, let's just put this right out here. Jack Fox is still once again a secret weapon.
He was incredible today. Incredible.
Oh my God.
I think he must have dropped all of the punts inside the 20.
Well, there was the one punt that was a touchback. Oh, and that's right. Fox didn't even bother showing it hit the ground. I'm not sure if it ever did.
You're right. That was like a 60-yard punt, and he still ends up pinning him inside the 20 because there was a penalty on the.
Yeah.
What team did we? Cardinals. Jesus. But yeah, no, he was incredible, and then I'm not going to mention the other thing. I'm going to let you guys take care of it.
I do. Okay, fine. Me and Ryan will have a civilized adult conversation. And it's once again going back to everything is a work in progress. And I will once again say that Jake Bates, for people who don't know, was not playing kicker for most of college. He's a converted soccer player. He was doing kickoffs in college. Ryan, the coaching staff has said and admitted as much. He is a project. And guess what? Better kickers have missed PATs. He missed one PAT and ended up not mattering whatsoever. He immediately made the next one. I understand everyone is terrified of the less than perfect kicker, but I don't think that person exists. I really don't. And I think right now, with how Jake Bates has grown and what he is under other pressure situations, like, do I hate the missed PAT? Sure. It's a kicker missing a PAT. You're supposed to absolutely hate that. Even with moving it back, it's supposed to, in your mind, be automatic. But I am not going to demand the Lions go and find some other kicker because of one missed PAT at this point on the season.
I'm not worried about it. There are some people I mentioned saying that that's the reason why the Lions signed a kicker to their practice squad is because the Lions coaching staff has lost faith in Jake Bates.
Not
That
true.
has not happened at all whatsoever.
They are committed for the long term on this guy. They know
Well,
he's developing.
They showed an awful lot of faith in him in the preseason by saying we don't need anybody else, trying to give the guy a vote of confidence. I think if there's a position in football that is maybe more mental than it is physical, it's probably place kicker. It could be worse. You could have missed a field goal like Cairo Santos in the Colts game and have the Colts mascot hip thrusting right underneath the field goal post after you miss it. Just a little bit of Bears put down is always encouraged.
This is just hard, even with the seasoned guys. Like Kyle Fairbairn for the Texans was a kicking machine last week, and he misses a field goal here, and he misses like a very blatant field goal this week. Like it's like,
yeah.
What do you want to do? What do you want to do?
You got to clean it up, but that 100, the extra point was 100% on Jake Bates. The snap was good, the hold was good. He just missed it. My only question about Jake Bates and his use for this football team comes back to the 4th and 1 call. I don't have a problem with the Lions going for it on 4th and 1. I don't.
They're not changing that. Like
no.
Like that's a good data point. It's like doesn't matter if we have a strong kicker, we're still going for it.
Yeah.
That's what we joked about all offseason long, right? Like who cares who the Lions trot out as their kicker? They're going to be going for it more often than not. They just have to be able to kick extra points. Yikes.
Also, kicking a field goal there would have made no sense to me because you're going from a 10-point lead to a 13-point lead. That's not significant enough.
Yeah, as Zack Snyder, our friend, not the and writer for POD, not the Hollywood director, put, you would be going from a 2-score game to a 2-score game.
I know. Well, my only thing to push back on that is that there's 3 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. It's not like the 4th quarter and you're doing that. I think that there's still an awful lot of game time left, and that extra field goal would have been pretty nice if the Lions didn't convert on that extra set of downs, and they'd be up 10 instead of being. I'm okay, but I'm just saying that like that there's some to it. The thing I'm most upset with that 4th and 1 call is why are you trying to catch them off guard by speeding up the snap and doing the quick fullback dive? You're able to get push up front, and your running backs are doing just a fine job of getting a yard. So let them do their thing and don't.
That's
one
of the play. That's one of the play. That's why I said when I had some problems with play calling, that's kind of what was in my mind.
Can I
was
defend
not the
it though?
Tool there. Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Because if you take your time on there, who's the one guy you're worried about?
Buda Baker.
Yes, and if you take your time there, you're going to give him time to time the snap correctly, right? Like if you're letting the play clock run down and you're taking your time, you're going through your normal cadence. That's the guy you got to worry about. If you hurry it up, he's not going to be able to time that in a way that we know he can and did in this game on a different 4th down, I think.
Yeah, it just felt like the Cardinals reacted to the snap before the Lions did, which was not my favorite thing.
I don't think the Lions have been particularly good at hustling the play like that.
They've done that before,
games. Yes.
and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of it.
I'm not going to talk about Jake Bates because it's a missed extra point. It feeds into what I've seen from him, which is not making me feel great, but it's the only kick he's missed. It cost the Lions a single point. Let's not beat a dead horse here. I do want to go back to Jack Fox real quick because the one touchback he had, I just went and looked it up. Do you know how long that was, that kick?
70-something yards?
68. It was a 68-yard boot.
Wow.
Not quite nice.
It's still a net 48-yard kick, which is actually still very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Punt to win.
Don't say that ever again.
I know.
I will throw you this off this damn podcast if you ever say punt to win again.
One last special teams note.
Yeah.
Khalif Raymond was so close to breaking one. Like he was close to breaking one. And I just love how he just lets things set up. He lets things develop. Like he has such a good rhythm to his game returning a punt.
100%. I agree 100%.
I was in the car for that play. I was driving home and I was listening to Dan Miller, and you could tell Dan really wanted that one for him too. Like it sounded like they were, and Lomas was getting charged up too, which is always the best part when it gets to that part in the radio. But yeah, I think we covered all of this. Thoughts going into Monday Night Football?
Get healthy.
Yeah, get us healthy and let's beat the Seahawks, man. I hate losing to the Seahawks. Which just always seems to happen. I still have PTSD from the Calvin Johnson game that I was at.
It just seemed like such a mid team every time. Like, I don't. Well, we have our dueling previews coming, but I'm sorry, like, their resume so far is like a 1-score win over the Broncos, a 1-score win over the Patriots, and beating up on Skylar Thompson.
Yeah. No, they don't have a good resume. And listen, given all the hand-wringing we've done for 2.5 weeks with this team, if they can go into the bye 3-1 with wins over the Seahawks and the Rams, like, that is just about where my expectations were. I think I may have even had them 2-2 through 4 games. So they've already hit that goal for me. 3-1 would be icing on the cake. And listen, it's not going to be easy after it gets to that. We saw how well the NFC North is playing right now. The Packers and the Vikings are already kind of hitting their stride.
Asterisk there with NFC North because the Bears suck.
We don't, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we don't. They're the White Sox of this AL Central NFC North thing.
But
can I just build off that though? Because like, it's kind of what I talked about last week. This is a long NFL season. I know some people don't want to hear that, but losses are going to happen. It's not college. I say this every week, especially early in the season. Teams are trying to figure out what they are. We talked almost 60 minutes here talking about things the Lions have to fix up, patch up. I think there is a point where, in other sports where like you play X amount of games, you know what you are. I think for the NFL, you are constantly always week to week evolving, changing, trying to patch things up, trying to get healthy, trying to get better. So like, I'm asking Lions fans, can we just take the long look on this? Can we take it easy? Can we not freak out and go look for Dan Campbell's house after a loss? Can we just all calm the F down and realize this is how big boy football is supposed to be? Losses suck, but they are not the end of the world. Please. Yeah. They're giving for the audio listeners, they're both giving me the thumbs up. Which means I don't know if I did well or if they just don't want. No, I just don't know if the one. Yeah, the wrap up sign. Yeah, I probably should. Anyway, wow. Thank you for the vote of confidence there. It really makes me feel great as I get closer and closer to dying.
Pride of Detroit's Jake Bates.
What is that? Okay. At CRISPR Fed on Twitter, where you can see me die an ego death after this podcast, apparently. Jeremy Reisman at Detroit on Lion, and Ryan Matthews at Ryan_POD. What we got coming this week, Jeremy?
We got a big announcement for Pride of Detroit Director subscribers coming this week. We've got midweek mailbag. It's probably going to come a little bit later. It's also a Pride of Detroit Direct exclusive this week. So if you want to get the midweek mailbag, go to pridedetroit.com/subscribe. And then hopefully we'll have Mookie on for our podcast, our first bite, which again is also a Pride of Detroit Direct exclusive. So, hey, what I'm trying to say is you're missing out a lot of good content if you're not a Pride of Detroit Direct subscriber. Go there.
And for those, and for our entire audience, including POD Direct, and for our main POD, for anyone else on the POD Cast subscriptions, you will get the Purview podcast coming later this week as well. Myself and our writer crew will break down the Seahawks. We'll talk about the upcoming matchup. And thank you for all those who've been giving us good feedback on that podcast. Yeah. Ryan, any final words?
Happy birthday, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you. I barely got to enjoy the Earth, Wind, and Fire Day, but I will take the rain check and have some fun myself, especially now that I have a Lions victory to celebrate it too. Now,
cheers to that.
Only if I could have added a USC win to it, but no.
Womp womp.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. For everyone else at home, thank you all. We will see you Starside.
Recording stopped.
2 out of 3 ain't bad is something that Jake Bates would say after this game.
You know, it's a fun little thing.
I think that was my favorite. That was always my favorite line from Mars Attacks. Jack Nicholson, like, look, we may have lost the legislative, but we still got the executive and the judiciary. And 2 out of 3, that ain't bad.
really quick apology to the live viewers. There were a couple times where the video and the audio got a little laggy. Funny story. That apparently happens when I go to prideofdetroit.com because there's too many ads on the site that are slowing down my computer.
Ad blockers? Question mark.
So the 3 people a day that are tweeting me complaining about ads on our website. I hear you.
We know.
I know.
There's nothing we can do about it.
There is something you can do about it, but you can't say it.
Anyways, I think we're done. I think we all want to get out of here because, again, I have to record something with Eric still. I have to write the whole damn newsletter. I
need
have to
to
write
eat.
grades. Chris needs to eat. Ryan needs to sleep because he's got school in the morning. And you guys probably want to watch the second half of the Sunday Night Football.
I was going to say actually, I think Kansas City, it's at the half. Kansas City is down by 1.
There you go. All right.
So
We're going to get out of here then. So appreciate all of you guys. Again, there's a bunch of podcast offerings on Pride of Detroit Direct this week, including a big announcement that you don't want to miss. So pridedetroit.com/subscribe if you want to be a part of that community. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next during the Mad Sim. Chris and the gang will see you either Wednesday or Thursday, probably
Thursday since it'll be a Monday game.
There you go. We'll see you then. Enjoy Victory Sunday, what's left over, and Victory Monday tomorrow.
Victory Monday. Bah, bah, bah. And go Tigers.
I can't do
Hug
it.
your people,
I'm trying
man.
to do the thing that you're doing, man. Pew, pew, pew. All right.